It's 11 Strangest Abandoned Locations. Holland Island is a marshy island in the Chesapeake Bay. However, in recent years, it can barely be called an island. The island once served home to watermen and farmers, but has since been abandoned because so much of the island has eroded away. It was once the largest inhabited island in the bay. Much of the island was consumed by wind and tide, taking away many of the houses that used to be on the island. The last house on Holland Island stood until 2010, until it finally collapsed after more than 100 years since it was first constructed. Constructed in 1923, right beside the Tequendama waterfalls in central Colombia, is the Hotel del Salto. The Tequendama River was contaminated, which eventually led to a decrease in an interest in the area. By the 90s, the hotel had to close down and was left abandoned. While it has since been converted into the Tequendama Falls Museum, it is still widely considered to be haunted because of how many people have chosen to commit suicide at that spot. For the 1984 Winter Olympics, the city of Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina built an Olympic bobsled and luge track on Trebevic Mountain. The site cost more than 500 million Yugoslav dinars and was used for World Cup competitions after the Olympic Games of 1984 until 1991, when the Bosnian War started in 1992. The track was damaged as a result of the siege of Sarajevo, and during the siege, the track was actually used as an artillery position by Bosnian Serb forces. Since then, it has been untouched and still holds the battle damage from the war, but also has gained a layer of graffiti. The Dome House was a modern house built on the southern portion of Florida's Marco Island. Because of their strange shape and the fact that they are almost completely submerged in water as they are slowly being reclaimed by the sea, many people believe they were homes to aliens or cult-like groups. However, the history is much less mysterious. The Dome House was originally built in 1981 and changed hands a few times until it came into the ownership of John Tosto in 2001. This new owner would attempt to refurbish and remodel the Dome House, but property taxes and construction costs prevented him from doing so. The ocean would eventually reclaim the property, and now the house is tens of meters away from the coast and has become an active coral reef. This abandoned sanatorium in Beelitz, Germany has a long history. It was constructed in 1898 to house tuberculosis patients. However, later in its life, it would host Adolf Hitler after he was injured in the 1916 Battle of the Somme during World War I. During the 1920s, the hospital expanded to accommodate thousands of extra patients. The building would eventually develop a butcher's shop, bakery, beer garden, and restaurant. It continued to operate through World War II, hosting wounded soldiers of the German military. After that, the Soviets took control of the hospital until they withdrew in 1994 and was left completely abandoned and unattended. Now it has rotten and fallen into disrepair. The water level in Lago Effect, a lake in Argentina, has been facing decreased water levels, revealing an abandoned lakeside resort that used to be popular. Via Epecuén had 280 businesses, including lodges and hotels, that centered around tourism. However, in 1985, it was flooded when a nearby dam and dike protecting the village broke open. The water reached a peak of 10 meters or 33 feet, making the entire resort uninhabitable. The water receded enough in 2009 for one sole resident named Pablo Novak to return to his home. However, the rest of the Villa Epecuén has remained largely uninhabited and unrenovated after 25 years of being underwater. The SS Airfield is a decommissioned ship in the Homebush Bay, just west of Sydney, Australia. While there are many decommissioned ships sitting in Homebush, the SS Airfield is different because it now hosts a lush forest. The SS Airfield was scheduled to be broken up for parts by shipbreakers, but was left intact, along with 4 other ships in the yard. While all of them have been left to rust and age, the airfield has grown a lush set of mangroves in what some people call the floating forest. Colemanskop is a ghost town in Spirgirbia of Namibia that was built during a moment in the early 1900s when diamond trade was booming in the area. A diamond rush in the area caused the town to rise up around it, but the diamond vein would dry up by the end of the First World War, eventually leading to the decline of the town, when larger and richer diamond mine was found farther south of Colemanskop, causing it to turn into a ghost town. In the 1980s, De Beers Mining Company restored many of the buildings in the town for tourists to come visit the abandoned buildings, many of which are full of sands that have blown in from surrounding dunes. In the middle of Sintra, Portugal, is the Quinta da Regaleira, a huge historic estate that dates back thousands of years. The estate has changed hands multiple times, but when it came into a wealthy Portuguese etymologist, it became covered in symbolic carvings associated with Masonry and Knights Templar. Inside are frescoes, stained glass windows, and even lakes, grottos, and elaborate underground tunnels. There are mysterious wells, including the Initiation Well, which is a very deep underground well with a long spiral staircase that ends in a beautiful floor that is said to be where Knights Templar used to hold meetings. Ross Island is an island of the Andaman Islands and part of India's Union Territories. It once was used as the administrative headquarters for the British in the Andaman Islands. In the 1940s, it was taken over by the Japanese, and then subsequently hit with earthquakes, causing the island to be abandoned. It is still largely uninhabited, as authorities have prohibited any civilian settlement. This leaves the ruins of the old buildings open to reclamation by plants and vegetation. Now many of the ruined walls are covered in huge trees and vines. The IM cooling tower is part of an abandoned power plant located in Montsou, Belgium. When it was in use, the tower cooled incoming hot water using wind power that would come in from the bottom of the tower, which would rise up to the top. When in use, it could cool 480,000 gallons of water per minute. Now it just looks like a strange and cinematic set that has been left to age and mold.